Hi, everybody. Boy, it took a little while to get on the air here. Sorry about that. And yes, I'm in postseason form. Welcome to Moohead Radio. I'm your host, the big and furry bovine, and with me is Bronk in England, who's getting over AIDS.
Moo.
No, I'm sorry, COVID is one of those diseases. And I hope everybody had a pleasant weekend, as the picture sure got clearer over the course of the weekend, as it always does every year. And hello to Tony the Calf. You know something? Driscoll will not see the field. He can't when he's in the pocket. So why would he? Never mind. And we got a lot to talk about today, and I want to start out with some stuff that is the stuff of bad character. All right. Jameis Winston, since stealing crab legs in college, obviously is still an absolute shit of a person, overruling his head coach to score a touchdown when they were up 41-17. This has to be one of the lamest things I've heard of in my life, and him going in front of the press defending himself, trying to make it appear that he was like, I'm doing it for my teammate who had never scored a touchdown before. I mean, so basically you broke team protocol, you went rogue on the head coach, you changed the play call after your guy had intercepted a pass, got tackled at the 1 yard line, and instead of taking a knee as your coach asked you to do, you decided to hand the ball off and get the touchdown and cheer. That makes you an asshole, is right, Ron Shane. Not you, Ron Shane, but it makes Jameis Winston an asshole. Then to stand there afterwards and to sit there and say, well, you know, I did it for the team, and, you know, go to hell. I don't know why in the world Dennis Allen doesn't shit can this guy and just get rid of him. Oh, man. And the worst part of the story is I've heard of kicking a horse when he's down. But Arthur Smith, the coach of the Falcons, who got shit canned right after the game, as everybody knew he would, has to have a midfield heated exchange with Dennis Allen because he doesn't know that Jameis Winston went rogue. He figured that the coach of the Saints had just called the handoff just to piss on his parade even more. Unbelievable. So basically the heated exchange, and Arthur Smith goes back into the locker room and gets fired. And Jameis Winston's out there still trying to explain why he steals crab legs for a living. Fuck him. His best days are far behind him at Florida State University. And you know something? The one thing there's no excuse for is putting yourself ahead of the team. And that's not being a good teammate. That's opening the doors to mutiny. And you don't need that kind of player. And I just thought it was pathetic. Here's the other thing that I found that was equally pathetic. That Draymond Green says that the NBA commissioner, Adam Silver, talked him out of retirement. Now, why in the fuck would Adam Silver do that? Obviously, Draymond saying the world's just getting too hard for him. He just doesn't have enough people to elbow, hitting the balls, kicking the nutsack, or take wild swings at and give people concussions. There just isn't enough of that for me, and it's getting harder and harder for me. Did I say me? How many times have I said me? Me? Draymond Green should have been thrown out of the fucking league a long time ago. And as far as I'm concerned, he shouldn't just be thrown out. Every guy that he cheap-shotted should get a kick at his nutsack once he's let go from the league. I hope I state my case clearly on this, so nobody will think that I believe any other way. As far as the game yesterday, Um, let's see what the PFF numbers have to say. How did the Browns defense do in this game? I'm still looking for them. Sam Kamara, 42 snaps, a 73.3 grade. Alex Wright, a 64-1. Obuakarankwo, only 11 snaps just to see if he fell over. 56.1. Isaiah McGuire, one of the McGuire sisters, 49 snaps, a 54.6. Shelby Harris got 23 snaps in with a 46.9. Needless to say, you can see that the defensive line did not do very well. Jordan Elliott, a 41.4, and Siaki Ika, 28.7. Multiply it by 10, and you're not even close to his body weight. As far as the only guy who passed my eye test, Tony Fields had an 82.1, and I think he played a good game. Jordan Kunasek, he had a 70.9 and 41 snaps, although he missed a tackle early on in the game against Joe Mixon. That was a less than stellar effort. Mahmoud Diabate had a 57.7, and Matthew Adams, the great grandson of John Quincy Adams, had a 37.6 in 48 snaps. Vincent Gray had a 73.5 as a cornerback, but at the safety position, Deron Harmon, 76.3, and DeAnthony Bell, 74.5. These are the two guys who are going to get to see the field in additional passing situations or in the case of injury. Cameron Mitchell, a 59.4. He did not look good. Ronnie Hickman, only a 45.3 and 29 snaps, but Hickman's played well with the others on the field. If you're wondering, Jake Browning, he had an 89.6 rating and 51 snaps. Boy, we made him look good. Orlando Brown Jr., an 81.9, which if you multiply by 10 is getting closer to Siaki Ika's weight. And Joe Mixon had a 79.3 and 34 snaps. Yeah. Look, it doesn't take a genius to tell you that that wasn't the Cleveland Browns on the field. That's the point, Tony. I have no idea who a lot of these people are. A lot of them. But there is somebody that I want to bitch about because, hey, it's my job. You know, Jeff Driscoll actually had a 66.4. I don't know how. Pierre Strong and Jerome Ford and Kareem Hunt all basically had 61s. David Bell caught 2 touchdown passes. So he's ahead in the wide receiver sweepstakes. It's Cedric Tillman that I have a beef with. What plays is he running? I don't understand the routes that he's running. And neither does any quarterback who plays with him. There has to be an explanation. And this is the reason why, I guess, Stefanski's using him as a blocker. Because he needs some kind of A, a brain, and B, a GPS system. The first interception of the game, he gave up and stopped running. I've seen that from him at least 3 times this year, and I've had enough. Just had enough. If the desire isn't there, I understand, you know, if the ability's not there, Anthony Schwartz, then, you know, I wasn't in favor of keeping him for 3 years, for God's sakes, but you understand what I'm saying. But if the effort isn't even there, or the ability to learn a playbook, if his Wonderlic scores are below Porky Pig's, no. Don't need me none of that. And of course, Cleveland.com. Who are the winners and losers in this game? The Browns lost and the Bengals won. I hate these articles. They're so stupid. And you're right, David. He's in concussion protocol. I would put him in percussion protocol and make him a roadie so he could bring out the drums out on stage. Had enough of Cedric Tillman. I thought I was done saying Tillman with Lawyer Tillman, who was another guy I got sick of decades ago with the Browns, but no. And there Mark Ross brings up the obligatory Anthony Schwartz reference along with me. It's failure, Anthony Schwartz. It just goes that way. And we'll be doing it for years to come. He's just that bad. Never heard of him. It's like the practice squad swallowed him alive in Miami. It's like, what were they doing? Just entertaining themselves? Going, wow, this guy's every bit as bad as they said he was. Goodness gracious. Now, we talked a little bit about this on the Friday show. And you knew that the Browns would be cast asunder. You knew that they would have the short practice week. You knew that they would be the Saturday game. You knew they'd put them on NBC because half the city of Cleveland can't watch NBC if they're affiliated with AT&T in any way, shape, or form. So how can you watch the Cleveland Browns besides going to the stadium and risking your life? How? If you're in Northeast Ohio? Well, there are a bunch of options if you want to go through the trial subscription thing, whether it's Fubo or whether it is hooking up a pair of rabbit ears, an antenna to your television and getting WKYC TV indoors. Find one. I'm serious. It's inexpensive. Just go out to any hardware store, they'll have it, and you just hook it up. How about a Suck My Cock subscription? Fuck Peacock. Who pays for this? Let's be real. Get the trial, cancel it afterwards, see the one thing you want to watch on there, and that's that. It's over and done with. At any rate, I know I'm going to be watching the game. And if it's a national broadcast on NBC, you can get it. I can get it. We can all get it, except if you're with AT&T. And that was just bad on the part of the NFL doing this exactly to they don't think highly enough of the Cleveland Browns. Let's be honest about it. Yeah, we're going to throw them away at 4:30 on Saturday. And that way, if the Texans win, it gives us more time to shit on the Browns. It's week by week, game by game now, folks. The Browns have to come out and play their best football. I wanted to look at this objectively. And so I started looking up some of the stats on the Houston Texans because, look, I'd like to tell you I've watched every one of their games, but I haven't. But sometimes statistics say things like, for example, something as simple as looking at a team's schedule now that it's over and done with. They started out 0-2 and they made the playoffs. That is bucking the odds right there. So give them full credit for that. However, here's some of the teams they lost to. The Ravens, you'd expect them to. The Colts. No reason to. But they beat the Jaguars, which turns out anybody could do. And then they beat the Steelers, which at the time anybody could do. They got a little better as the year went on. They lost to the Falcons. Arthur Smith still thought he had a job, but they lost to the Falcons. This is the interesting part of this team, just looking at their record. They beat the Saints, not a bad team, and they lost to the Panthers. That's inexplicable. They beat the Bucks, but that's just a 500 team that scored 9 points. Way to go, Baker. Get that ball in the end zone. They beat the Bengals to go 5-4 in the season, and they beat the Cardinals. Cardinals weren't very good, really. And the Bengals, that's what I really think of the Bengals. Then they lost to the Jaguars. But they beat the Denver Broncos. But then they inexplicably lost to the New York Jets. No, that's not good. Then they beat the Titans in overtime, which it seems like the Titans lose every game in overtime. They lost to us, but they didn't have their quarterback. So I give them fair, it's full disclosure. And then they beat the Titans and they beat Indianapolis. But let's not forget, they're playing in the lousiest division in football. They seem to play better against better teams, and then they seem to play worse against worse teams. And the one thing that is true, they have a rookie quarterback. This could be a big game in front of his own home team, which is a shortcoming of the NFL because as far as I'm concerned, there's no reason, just because they won a lousy division, there's no fucking reason in the world why this game should be played there and not in Cleveland. Cleveland had a far superior season and a far more competitive division as far as good teams are concerned, not teams who are trying to lose, which is what you had in the AFC South. The thing about the Texans also is they've scored a good number of points. It's not that they don't score the football, but they give up a lot of points too. So if they've scored 353 points, that's damn near how many they give away. And here we have Mr. Talevsky. Hi, David. How are you?
Hey, Moo. How's it going?
Good. Bronk, what happened to you?
I don't know. I've been like in and out and hanging around. I don't know what happened to me.
You have sound. You have sound in the background, David. For whatever reason, you have echo.
Is that me or him?
No, it was him.
David.
Are you still there, David? Well, I'll just.
Here.
Okay, good. Yeah. What's up?
Go, David.
Sorry.
Hello?
I got earbuds that are acting up for me.
All right. I'll just continue on then.
Oh, I'll go then.
Okay, good.
I have a comment about the game. I think the little bit of it that I saw, the only person that looked good was Jake Browning's girlfriend. She looked absolute fire.
Did you want to know what was terrible about that? When she flashed on the screen, I said, "Who's the hoe in the Cincinnati Bengals bodysuit?" I didn't know it was Jake Browning's girlfriend, but it figures. You know what she does? She goes, "She smells money." Give me a break. Who in the hell dresses like that in the owner's suite?
I'm back now.
All right. Well, what do you have for us,
I'm going
David?
without him now.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
And we keep losing Bronk too.
Yeah, I'm going to turn off. I don't know what the problem is. I'll see you guys later.
Okie doke.
Take care.
All right. So what's up, David? What do you got for me?
Nothing much. I love the comment in the thread saying the main reason why I think the NFL just doesn't care for the AFC South. That's why we got the first game. Typically, their games are always the first one. I don't think it has anything to do with us.
No, baby. Here's the other thing. I was just getting on the fact that he's a rookie quarterback, but he's a former Ohio State rookie quarterback. And for that reason alone, it instills the fear of the baby Jesus into Browns fans. And if we were the team that had a rookie quarterback starting in a playoff game, even if it was at home, we'd be worried. I mean, you never really know what's going to happen. The kid can come out. He's got the ability. Goodness only knows. He's got the arm strength. He's got the ability. He's been sacked 38 times this year. All right. And so you can get to him. And I take a look at the teams that dumped him on his ass the most, and the Jets, the Broncos, the Jaguars, the Cardinals, and against in a loss to Houston, he got sacked 6 times. But that may not have been him. So at any rate, what we can say is he threw for 470 yards against Tampa. All right. Tampa gives up a lot of air yardage. That's a whale of a game under any circumstance. And he's thrown for 356, 336, 304, 306, and 384 during the course of the season. So he can put up big, fat numbers. And if you're asleep at the switch, he has the ability to hit Nico Collins downfield, and he can hurt you, as the Jaguars found out.
My main problem is that he's mobile.
Well,
we have to keep him hemmed in the pocket.
Is he more mobile than Justin Fields?
I really don't know, to be honest with you.
I don't think he is. I do think, however, he's got he throws a better long ball.
Yeah.
That's for sure. And this is our hope, Double P, that if you can lock up Nico Collins, then you're going to keep them into an intermediate pass range. But I'll tell you another thing. This kid doesn't throw interceptions. He threw 5 interceptions the whole year, and 3 of them were against Arizona. That leaves only 2 the rest of the season. He does not make those mistakes. But at the same time, his touchdown percentage isn't real good either. So there's a lot of field goals in there. And for all the yardage and the points scored, it's not converting from the passing game into passing touchdowns. So there's all of these things that are factors that you look at. And is it crazy to expect them to win? I think it's crazy for anyone to expect anyone to win. I think that the Browns know what they have to do. They've got to stop a running game that only averages 96 yards per game. If you stop their running game, it's going to force the quarterback into more must-pass situations as far as not like 3rd and 3s and dump-offs and things of that nature. But I mean 3rd and 7s and over. And it's going to make him more vulnerable to pass rush because he has been vulnerable to pass rush. So it all starts with what the Browns have been pretty damn good with the exception of a few games, and that's stopping the running game. And it comes down to the man-to-man coverage that the Cleveland Browns play and the blitz schemes that are going to be designed to confuse a rookie quarterback. That's what it all comes down to. And I have nothing bad to say. The fact that Houston was 9-6 this year, that's great. Well, he was 9-6 anyway. What? Yeah, I guess that's what they're saying in this particular stat. But the fact that the team won the game that they had to win, give them credit. I got no bad things to say about this team, this organization, or anything. There are some people who are trolling the Browns board, and they're not Texans fans. They're former Browns fans who are racists, who are saying, oh, you wait, this is going to be the ultimate payback for the Deshaun Watson deal. And it's like, I have found my way off of Twitter because it is like shit. Like absolute shit.
It depends on where you look, honestly.
Yeah, I didn't think so either. I'm always polite. I'm always polite to my guests. No, when he played at Ohio State, he was a pocket passing kind of guy and not a running quarterback. And this is the other thing. If you send the right blitz, you can get turnovers through fumbles, not necessarily through interceptions.
Hey, Moo,
Or make
I'm
him
gonna
throw
eat
the ball
dinner.
away.
Moo.
Yeah.
I'm gonna eat dinner. I'll stay on, and I'll come back when I'm done.
Okay, great. So, pass pressure, nothing beats the realization for a quarterback that they can't be protected. And that's what the Browns defense has done this year and needs to continue to do to make this go our way. Hey, Buff Gaming, how you doing? This is the guy to ask for the odds of the Browns winning or losing. He's the guy. I don't know anything about that shit at all. Yeah, people will find a way to degrade Deshaun Watson, but the amazing thing is that they're degrading the Cleveland Browns in the process, and I don't consider those people worth a goddamn. So somebody has popped back in here. Hey, it's Bronk. Bronk. I don't hear you yet, but I will once you get things figured out.
You hear me now?
Yeah. Absolutely.
You hear me now?
Yes, you're good.
This is just weird. I don't know what's going on here.
Now, as far as the Browns offense, I'm sorry?
Where do I start? You already went over Shioni Ika's amazing game yesterday. God, we now know why he was inactive for like 4 months out of the season. He's just fat,
I have a really good question. Why do people come in here?
Why is it?
The chat room when they know they're going to get thrown out.
Why is it?
Bye. I don't understand. Who's going to win tonight? Fuck Michigan. And,
don't care.
I don't care either because both teams will be paid royally.
Yeah.
What I focus on, honestly, is that while the universities are making the real money, the little pittance is being thrown at the players who are going to end up with CTE. Anyway, what's the point of going to college if you have multiple concussions and you end up with brain damage afterwards? I don't understand the point of it all. I'm just going to come right out and say what I believe, and I'm just going to leave it alone from this point. And that is the universities need, it's so important to pay so much fucking money to get players out of the portal and all that, and they got to pay the other universities, pay the fucking player. If he's that valuable, that means that you're going to put $6 million into bringing a guy into the portal to your team, through the portal into your team. If it's that important to you, pay him half. Half! Then you won't be doing it so much, will you? God. It's just ridiculous. Just unbelievable. As far as the Browns offense and who do I think is going to win, I don't care who wins. And I lived in Flint, Michigan for almost 10 years, and I've got friends in Michigan. I got no problem. So the rivalry between Michigan and Michigan State was just as contentious as the one with Ohio State, believe me. And it was a big to-do up there. College football was never a big to-do for me, but it's big business now. And now that they're making millions of dollars, I can tell them all to go fuck themselves. That's what it amounts to. The Browns offense against the Texans defense should be, you remember that we kind of hammered them the last time around and started out a game with a big play, and we were having immense success going down the middle of the field and finding open seams. They know what to look for. The advantage that the Texans have is that they played against Joe Flacco once. So the defense knows what we did. No surprises here. We did not play against CJ Stroud. So we don't know what that team looks like with him at the helm. That gives a little advantage to the home team. The Browns offense has to do what it hasn't been able to do for most of the season, and that's got to keep them honest with the run. And I know that Flacco's thrown for over 300 yards in this many games, and I get that. But that's what makes that happen. If they bite on play action, that's what gets Njoku open. That's what gets Amari Cooper open. You freeze the linebackers, you freeze the people in their footsteps with the run. You get them moving a little bit toward the line of scrimmage, and you can get behind them. And Flacco has the arm to hurt them. So there's nothing new under the sun in this game. The Browns need to successfully run the football when they run the football. And that is an extra measure of buying Joe Flacco pass protection, because if they're biting on that, then it's going to be harder for them to bring the house. The other thing is they may be willing, in order to catch the immobile quarterback, to start bringing blitzes. DeMeco Ryans, it was a defensive coordinator, and this guy, we know from his past, if he brings the blitz, then the Browns have to be prepared to dump the ball off to tight ends and running backs. But Jerome Ford has to catch the fucking ball. The guy has had more drops than any running back in the NFL. When he does catch it, as we found out on the one play that Flacco extended a couple weeks ago, he can do damage once he catches it, but he doesn't look the ball in. He's always trying to run before he's got his hands on it. But there's going to be opportunities in those little screen passes and Flacco could recognize a blitz when it's coming his way and can audible out of things. And I think Stefanski at this point gives him plays that gives him options on what he can do. So I don't see the Browns throwing long bombs. I don't see that happening, but the middle of the field can be open if play action is successful. And that means the guys catching the ball, Njoku and Cooper. And then, I have no doubt that you're still going to see Cedric Tillman in the game for blocking, but he just doesn't help the quarterback in any meaningful way. And David Bell can't block because he's not of size to do that, and he's not of speed enough to really be able to break something after he catches the football. And that's something that we've seen, it's what the Dolphins do with Tyreek Hill and the slant patterns that Tagovailoa throws. It's the speed, the foot speed of the receiver that makes something happen after the catch with a little bit of open green in front of him. David Bell doesn't give us that. He's just another possession receiver. So there's that. Yeah, that's right, Bronk. Blame Wiley Fox. Why the hell not? Okay. Amsterdam's feeling bad for himself like Draymond Green. The question is, why do I subject myself to 15 plus years following this program and being abused and ignored? I could get married again. It's true. It's always an option, my friend. But it costs you a hell of a lot more money than sitting here and being ignored in the show. Got to admit that too. Oh my. I'm just looking at all the comments. Joe Cool, you mean? I don't know Steve Lato. Which station did he work for? Crembley. Yeah, let me know that. Yeah, I do. I do know my stuff, and I know when somebody changes their name too. I know all kinds of things, dude. Oh, for goodness sakes. Yeah, and this is the case. You know, I'll tell you the ultimate example. Could you believe the last fourth down go for in Jacksonville's game? Ball's a little bit behind the running back. It was not, a great throw by any stretch of the imagination, but the guy dropped it. And he was talking to the press after the game, and he goes, "That doesn't define me." It's like, for the next few weeks, it sure as fuck does. Oh, my goodness. And that is the big gong of truth moment on the program, that you're only as good as the last thing you did. And he's got to wait an entire offseason before he proves he can do better. Wow. And I don't know why in the hell, with a guy with an injured shoulder, why would you have Trevor Lawrence trying to dive over on 4th and less than 1 and extend the injured shoulder? A lot of things I don't understand. So, no, I don't think DTR is going to be playing anytime soon. No. And, playing under a roof may not be great. Again, in any game situation where you have a good defense, bad weather is going to kind of bring the two teams together and closer, but it's easier for the defense to perform. On a fast track, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. That's why, two mistakes in a game like this that can end up in 14 points cost you your season. Everything's got to be locked down as best as possible. It's not an easy thing, and it's true. There's 15 games of CJ Stroud, so and Jim Schwartz knows what he's doing, looking for another job, but he does know what he's doing, and he has seen what he needs to see. And now it just comes down to execution. And, I don't know what you're asking me. If who matches up with the Steelers, do you think it will be more of a close game? I don't know what that means.
I guess he means if the Steelers somehow beat Buffalo and then we have to wind up playing them. That must be what he means.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. The game would be played in Cleveland. I like that. And, Mason Rudolph still made a bunch of Mason Rudolph plays in their last win. So I don't even think about the Steelers and all this. They're not really to be considered in all this. They backed in, and good for them, but they have a lot of problems on that team. But one thing I will say, that their offensive line is blocking with a lot more force, and their running game is working a hell of a lot better than it did early in the year. And that's what's really keeping them afloat, is that they're suddenly, Najee Harris now suddenly is moving piles. There seems to be more belief, more effort, and that since Matt Canada got out the door. So I think that helped the players start believing in what they were doing, and getting rid of the guy who was slowing them down. Here's a question. I just wanted to know what you thought about Joe Mixon taunting our backups because he got the yards needed for 1,000 yards. And again, it's a lack of character. And I've never felt that Joe Mixon, I think when he was younger, Joe Mixon was a pretty good runner. I think now, his wheels have slowed down quite a bit. And it's
asswipe that assaulted a woman.
So, say what?
He assaulted a woman.
Yeah, I don't think that he's a high character person in the least. And uh, again, beating up on people who are, second, third stringers. I'll tell you another thing that really rubbed me wrong was the ridiculous 30-second dance uh, of the Jadeveon Clowney when he got his sack. And it turns out what he was celebrating was a $750,000 bonus. Could you believe that shit?
Yeah, a lot of the players like that have like signed like contracts for things. Chris Jones for Kansas City had one too, because he got an incentive also.
But I mean, and he stood there for 30 seconds until the next play started. And he's, it tells you everything you need to know about Jadeveon Clowney. I mean, he's not dedicated in the way he needs to be dedicated. That $750,000 meant more to him than anything else. I never see him get excited about something before until that.
I mean, I could say what I say about him, but I'm curious. I think that coaching staff last year had part to do with what happened with him. If Jim Schwartz was here, I think probably he'd be a different person.
Maybe, but I mean, this guy, I lived in South Carolina, and this guy was God in South Carolina, okay? You would not say a bad word about Jadeveon Clowney in South Carolina. Just don't do it. But the bottom line is that he never amounted to as much coming out of college as what people thought he would. He's a good NFL player, and if he has somebody else, in the case of the Ravens, you've got quarterback sacking linebackers. Okay. The way it's set up is they're going to sack a lot of quarterbacks with their linebackers. And it frees up a guy like Clowney, and he's had a nice season. But it just, again, reminded me of why I'm happy he's no longer with the Browns. Yeah. And Richard, you're right. Miami, yeah. You go into 0-degree weather. Yeah, it all changes real quick. And I still am afraid for Tua because he gets rid of the ball very quickly. But on a cold day and God knows what else, getting sacked, he hits his head against frozen ground. He's had too many concussions as it is. That could be a very dangerous situation. Very dangerous. Let's see. Hey, Moo, at least the division did something since you were born. Maybe, hopefully not, being above 500. You mean
all four teams finished above 500?
That's true. I mean, we had to go through the Hugh Jackson years, and I don't even want to go back there.
And yet, fucking the NFL will continue to just hype up the other divisions because they're in bigger markets with more money, despite the fact that the quality of football they play is crap.
Yeah, I mean, it's wait a sec for Bronk. Oh, the Miami Dolphins. Oh, this is Peter Addis from the dead for the BBC. Oh, he gets rid of the ball quickly, and oh, they're a scoring machine, except when they play somebody good. And poor little Tua, when he gets into the playoffs, he will be stampeded by a wild herd of buffaloes. Oh. All right. Enough of Peter Alice. Yeah, I better get rid of the dead sound. I'm alive. Jonathan Taylor should have been in for the Colts. Absolutely. He's the one who got the yardage going down the field. Just remarkable oversights. And it was a horrible fourth down call. I don't understand why people aren't calling for Doug Peterson's head. I don't understand that.
That was Shane Steichen.
Say what?
That was Shane Steichen. He's their head coach.
Oh, I'm sorry, Steichen. My bad. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know why in the world. I mean, the guy got you down the field. He was most effective in that drive. Just, I don't get it. Somebody's asked me, is Belichick going to get fired? But no, the word came out. Belichick made sure he told the press, no, I'm still under contract. He's a fucking prick.
Well, more than
he's like
likely, they said he's
herpes.
open to the idea of just being a coach and not having say on the roster anymore.
Well, I mean, at this point, that contract's going to pay him a lot of money. You don't want to lose the contract. They're going to pay one way or the other, is what he's telling them. And he's a prick. I always was a prick. And Christopher, how you doing, my friend? Ball control will slow Houston down. The real question here is there has to be a balance. I'm not, in an outdoor venue where the weather is bad, I'd say, yeah, you're going to be slogging it out. The game's going to be close. I don't know that you want the game to be close on the other team's home field. I think what you want to be able to do is force them into 3rd and longs and get them in and out so that you're running and all of the things that you do in the passing game, the short passing game, will tire them out just from being on the field for too long. And then, you can take advantage of fatigue mistakes. But it all starts with getting C.J. Stroud off the field. And I think the best chance of doing that is stopping their running game and forcing the young man into having to make big 3rd down plays against the strength of our defense, which is our defensive secondary and Jim Schwartz's concept of pressuring quarterbacks. That's the best chance that we have in the game. So, we're not going to play the Steelers unless something absolutely remarkable happens. And the Steelers are not going to beat Baltimore, although it could be a close game. The way Harbaugh coaches, who in the hell knows? And Bronk is saying he's expecting a choke job for the Bills, Dolphins, Eagles, and Chiefs. And the season would suggest that these teams are, especially the Bills, the Eagles, and the Chiefs, are playing below their advertised ability. I'm not including the Dolphins in that because I don't think people said, oh, these Dolphins are going to be a runaway team. But the Bills have been disappointing. The Eagles have lost 5 of their last 6 and look absolutely lost.
And they get to play Baker and the Bucks.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's good tonic for them, maybe. But honest to God, the Eagles, what in the hell happened? Love hurts.
Well, the problem is
Jalen. Yeah.
The problem with the Eagles, their defense stinks. Number one, I think they got a lot of guys that are aging, getting older, and you bring in Matt Patricia to call your defense. What the hell do you expect?
Yeah, Mr. Patriot, Mr. Belichick's son.
Yep.
Son of Bill. I'm hearing echo again. I did for a minute there anyway. Who knows what's going on? There's ghosts in the machine. If we beat the Texans, I don't care about Stefanski being coach of the year. If we beat the Texans, we get to play another game and win that one too. Keith, that's the way I look at it. I don't know anything except to climb up a staircase. You got to get the next step. You can't be worried about getting to the top of the staircase. It's one step at a time. And it's never more true than this time of the season. And we should know.
I don't see him winning. I don't see him winning coach of the year anyway. Like, how often do coaches win that twice?
Yeah, it would be, in my mind, it would be hard not to give it to him. Because the circumstances of this Browns team, it's been a remarkable season. And again, I'm really not certain about, if we beat the Texans. It's when we beat the Texans and we put all of our energy into that one game, and then we figure out what we have to do next. And Double P believes that the Steelers will beat Buffalo. Buffalo,
Doubt it.
Their quarterback is how did he start out that game? Who was he throwing the ball to?
I don't even know.
I mean, Jesus, he looked like Deshaun Kaiser, honest to God. I mean, this guy came in the league, big-armed quarterback and, big play guy. He got the rhythm finally, got it going, and he could run. He's a big guy. He's like Elway was. He can get into open seams and hurt you if he can't find anybody. But for some reason, the beginning of that game, he was forcing passes into places they didn't belong. And this has been the problem with Buffalo. Foolish turnovers, and it's like thoughtlessness. I'm looking at all the comments as we go on here. Mark, Jadeveon Clowney has made a good amount of money in the NFL, and what he's done with it, I can't tell you. But it was like when somebody told me that Joe Flacco, in contracts alone, and I don't know what endorsements he got when he was with the Ravens, has made over $70 million as a quarterback in the NFL. That may be nothing compared to what quarterbacks are being paid now. But again, if you can't live on $70 million, there's something wrong with your lifestyle. And let's see what else we have here. If I had to say who do I want to win, I hope Miami beats the Chiefs too. I still got a bad taste in my mouth about us losing to the Chiefs in our last playoff go with Baker when we let a goddamn backup quarterback get a 9-yard scramble for a first down. Holy
I can't remember.
Oh, that just hurt, man. Not that I have anything against Andy Reid and all of that, but they've been underperforming big time. So
they're also annoying as shit, and their egos are completely inflated. And I'm fucking tired of the Taylor Swift crap too.
I mean, that's social media. I'm still echoing off of your. You might want to mute your mic or something when you're not talking, David, so I don't hear myself back. I'm bad enough the first time, let alone the second time. This is great. It makes you happy for the time that you were deployed. Oh, God almighty. What happened to the team under him? The guy's a liar. He's just a horrible person. And
the team was under him, so he fucked them.
He couldn't believe a word he said. He was a huckster. He was like one of those door-to-door salesmen who would just try to sell you a vacuum cleaner. Dude was just incredible. And it was so bad. And I don't usually resort to this, and they kept bringing him back. And I said, the only way we're going to get rid of him is if a sniper shoots him on the field. And, that's the way I felt at the time. 0-16, this is just fat, dumb, and stupid is no way to go through life, son. I mean,
it's not just that, but he's jobless now.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, but where did he go? Which of the black universities did he go to?
Grambling.
It was Grambling, yeah. And that didn't last very long, did it? I mean, he's not to be believed. He's just one of those people who has no credibility whatsoever, and he'll blame anyone to save himself. It's terrible. It wasn't just the fourth down sneak that was a bad play call, but the last two throws by Trevor Lawrence were feet over the head. They look like the same play. There was no separation. The sideline was a defender, and he threw the ball 2 feet over the receiver's head. So, Trevor Lawrence is, you're going to hear it, the big gong of truth, overrated until he fucking does something. He's like Joe Burrow, overrated. I don't want to hear about the great white hope. I don't want to hear about that shit. I want, I don't want CJ Stroud to come out and have a great game against the Browns. I want him to have a great career, though. And I want him to have every chance, by getting more wide receivers, to be a better player as he goes on down the line. Justin Fields is prepared to be let go, former Ohio State quarterback number 2, of being let go by the Bears. Things just haven't worked out. And right now, I don't know who would quarterback the Bears because the Bears...
Caleb Williams. That's probably who they're going to draft.
Yeah, but you see, until they do something with their roster, it's not going to help any young quarterback. Not at all.
I argue, you may say this about Arthur Smith, but I think, in my opinion, he got screwed.
Maybe he did. I don't have that much familiarity with that team.
In the 3 years, when you start Taylor Heineke, Desmond Ridder, Marcus Mariota, and I think whatever was left of Matt Ryan, you probably have the same record as him.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's true of the Cleveland Browns with the coaches that we would keep bringing in. And the fans just get so irritated. It's like, fire him, fire him, fire him. And that's just the way it goes. And I feel badly for fans, because what other thing? I mean, you can't control the price of what you're watching on YouTube TV. You can't control how much it's costing you to be a fan and to see these people run shit into the ground. It's really frustrating. But yeah, organizations who get it wrong consistently, and the Jets would be a primary example. And I saw that Aaron Rodgers is shooting his mouth off, saying that, all the BS has to stop in the organization and this and that. It's like, you're 40, going to be 41, and just go away. You had your day. You want to prove that you can, in a single one-man show, that you're going to do what Tom Brady couldn't do in Tampa? Is that what you're going to try, so that this is for your ego? This is stupid. Nobody thrives with the New York Jets because if you don't have an offensive line, I mean, all you have to do is go back and watch the first 4 plays of the Jet season before he ripped his Achilles. He was hammered on 3 successive plays.
Yep.
He'd have been dead. The offensive line wasn't prepared to play football. So what is a 40-year-old quarterback supposed to do?
That's why
at least the goddamn
people,
Buccaneers protected Brady.
He was honestly better off getting hurt, because even if he was starting, that team would have been shit anyways.
Yeah. And, what I'll tell you is this, Mark. I see openings there that watching television is a lot easier than it is for Jerome Ford. You know what I'm saying?
Don't tell Pete Smith that, because he freely blames the offensive line for it.
No, because you have a split second. We're so used to seeing Nick Chubb being so precise with the decisions and the cuts that he makes and having that sixth sense. Jerome Ford does not have that. So, I mean, and neither does Kareem Hunt or Pierre Strong. If there's a hole there, they're going to put their head down and bury through, and they'll get 4 or 5 yards if there's a decent hole there. The problem is, if there's a cutback available and they don't see it, they're going to get dropped in their tracks for a loss. And I can't tell you how many times Nick Chubb turned what looked like, plays that were going to get snuffed out at the line of scrimmage into 5, 6, 7 yard carries. That's how you end up averaging 5+ yards a carry. So, and everybody is scared in Cleveland, period, because when it comes to the Browns, people get worried and concerned. Very interesting. Steve Lato, what year are you talking about, Krembley? I'm going to go to the end of this is interesting because I owned WWCK, but not when it was a rock station, not when it was Rock 105. All right. my purchase changed the call to CK105 and we went top 40. So I didn't know Steve Lato. I'm afraid that if he was there in 1988 for the sale of the radio station, he got pink slipped. I hate to say that. I'm sorry. No, I mean, it's terrible. I mean, I don't like to let people go, but this is the difference. Okay. I'll tell you the difference between rock radio and top 40 radio. It's like Rock 105 playing Flint's greatest rock music. And that was Deep Purple. You probably remember Deep Purple when they played with themselves. And the top 40 guy would be CK105. And that's the new one from Tone Loc. All right.
Krusty the Clown coming out in there.
Yeah. I mean, it's it's a different format. What can I tell you? And the disc jockeys don't translate. All the rock guys in the building, they didn't want to have anything to do with the top 40 format. So I kind of did them a favor by pink slipping them so they could get a job with the WCRZ sister station put on a rock format, and so they were.
Unless you're a Clear Channel and they force you to work on another format when you're needed.
Yeah. Well, Clear Channel, or I could say a lot of things, but they made me a lot richer. Stupid fucks. Yeah. Sorry, I can't say anything really bad. Yeah, I can. Yeah, I can. And you know something? They got what they wanted. They got all the radio stations in the palm of their hand, and their fucking stock went from $94 to $30.
Wow.
And now it's down to $5 or $6 or $7 a share. Way to go!
I did notice that Odyssey, who is present-day CBS Radio, is filing for bankruptcy.
Really? I mean, radio right now is in a sick... I saw something online, too, that Lacey Underalls died.
Yes.
Oh, that hurts.
Who was she?
She's not all right. She was the sexy girl in Caddyshack.
Oh, yes. Cindy Morgan.
Yeah, Cindy Morgan. That's right. She passed away.
Yep.
Only 69 years old. Yep. Let me clarify. Yeah. Hugh Jackson had to jump in the lake. The problem was he came back up.
And he showed his bare ass, too.
Oh, God. Let's see. God, I'm trying to catch up with all this. Look at these comments. You guys are way ahead of me. It's true. Renee was pissed off when I really said that he was overrated. I think I upset her. Oh, goodness. Let's see. Okay. How about Joe Banner firing Chudzinski? Have a seat, please. On second thought, don't. You're a tight ends coach. You played at Toledo. Go back to the glass factory, big boy. You're fired. I'm just killing it. That would be probably how it went. Poor Chud.
He probably did the same to Mike Lombardi.
Yeah. Some people are just good at and love to fire people. So at any rate, I guess I'm finished because I'm 7 minutes late getting off the air. But I don't have to make a prediction right now about the game because we have Friday's show to do that. And then Saturday at 4:30, please, everybody, do whatever the hell you can to get yourself set up to watch this game. Don't let the bastards at AT&T and their little
I can pull up the game.
struggle.
I'm good. I got Spectrum.
Yeah, do what you have to do because this stupid money struggle that's going on between, Tegna, the owners of KYC TV and the AT&T people, you're going to end up the loser. They're both going to end up get paid for their trouble. And set yourself up to watch this game. This will be a wonderful game. All right. So, all right, everybody. Thanks, David, for joining me. I appreciate it. Thanks, Bronk. Maybe the equipment will work better for you next time. And everybody, thank you so much for supporting the program. We don't do anything really to promote the damn thing. But the fact is that 21 years and moving forward, I think we all who are regulars in this program deserve a win on Saturday. And I'm sure the people in Texas feel the same way. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. And we'll be back again Friday. Until then, hasta la vista, Pasture Heads. Good night.